Welcome to another episode of the Comic Zone. So, tonight, what we're going to be covering is actually an event that took place just this past Saturday, which was May 19th, 2024. It was the spring edition for 2024 of the Shelf Life Books and Community Wise Resource Center putting on what they call ZINE Party. So, ZINE Party, you can see here, really great posters done by Ariel McCaig. It's probably, I think it's Gordon, probably just about our favorite market that we've ever done is the Zine Party. It's where I've met a lot of great creators here in Calgary and from other places around Alberta who come out to show their wares. Really great crowd always shows up. And it's in a really nice sort of intimate room at Community Wise, which Community Wise Resource Center used to be our old YWCA downtown in Calgary. And they put it on this really nice room where we're nicely packed in there, and it's busy all day. People are really excited to see independent creators, meet them, see what they've been up to. It's one of our favorites. So it's definitely a good one to check out. I'm going to throw a couple of the Instagram handles for Shelf Life Books, as well as I want to throw up the one for Ariel, who did the poster design this year. Ariel is also, I believe, the store manager at Shelf Life Books. Really nice person. Does their own zines and does music as well. Really cool band called the Puppet Wipes, which is always pretty fun. Hi Saxton. The cats are good. They just ate. I gave them an early meal. But we're gonna dig in here with this one here. So let's throw some information up here for the creators that we're looking at here. So Shelf Life Books, really good independent bookstore in town here in Calgary. If you're in town, it's a good one to check out if you like this stuff. And the other person is Ariel McCaig, who is at God's_chosen_puppet. And if I spell it correctly, yeah. So that's a couple people you should probably check out. Shelf Life is a cool bookstore. They also, they're really cool because they actually will sell they'll carry zines and small publications from small creators like myself. I'm actually hoping to have some of my Ghost Town zines in there in the next couple of weeks. So they talk the talk and they walk the walk when it comes to supporting independent creators and small creators. They support the community quite a bit, which is pretty cool. But what we're going to do is we're going to tuck into this nice set of books I've got here. I've got quite a few to go through tonight. What we're going to do is we're going to move these ones off to the side, I think, and we're going to start with this smaller pile of ones that I have here, and then we'll work our way into these ones. That's what we'll do. I've got a good group of zines to go through tonight. So where we're going to actually start is with these two really nice, look how tiny these are. These nice little wee zines from Stacy Lee Brew. So Stacy is really cool. And these are amazing ones. I love them. So we get the wee book of mugs here, and we also have one called Cuthbert. It's Cuthbert. He's the smallest, kind of runt of the litter of the cucumbers, and he wishes to be a pickle. These are fun. These are really fun. So we get the wee book of mugs by Stacy Brew, brand new this year, and there are these really cute, really nice illustrations. Now, Stacy Lee Brew, another thing that they do that I find is really interesting is Stacy actually runs a almost like mailing list for stickers. So I've shown some of Stacy's stickers in the past. I didn't grab any on this one, but Stacy does these really amazing um, ones that are all based on frogs, and they're super fun. We'll take a look at a quick sample here. Here's one of them. This is a very new one. This is so the Lily Pad Club is what they call it, is what Stacy calls it, and so you join that, and every month Stacy sends you a new sticker or more than one sticker. So it's a sticker club. It's really cool. So you could go to stacybrew.com, but just follow the Instagram link that I've got there, and Stacy's got so many of these, and is always brimming with new ideas of these really fun frog stickers to do. I'm always super impressed with them. They're just adorable. So you'll notice a similar, Stacy's style is really nice. Like when you look at these mugs, it's got the same sort of whimsical, um, you know, cute style that the lily pad stickers have. And it's got, let's see if I can get this to, there we go. Look at these. Really, really amazing little illustrations of these mugs as we go through them. And these are super cute. A small collection of mugs made for your pocket, it says. And these are perfect little zine, little chapbooks. Cuthbert is great. It reminds me actually of it reminds me a little bit of if you remember the old I can't get that I can't. Cuthbert does not want to get focused, I'll tell you. My camera decided not to. It kind of reminds me of Lambert. If you remember that there's an old cartoon. I think it's a Warner Brothers cartoon, but it might not be. The old little Lambert is just like this little guy that tries so hard, just tries so hard. No matter how hard they tried, Cuthbert was always the smallest cucumber. They never skipped photosynthesis. They're always watching for rain, always trying to grow. And they watched as everyone else got picked. Cuthbert always tried to stay hopeful, but always felt they'd never be good enough. Until one day, they found the last cucumber, and there's Cuthbert living his best life. I don't know. I love this one. Classic retelling of an age-old story. Our hero Cuthbert finds their place in the world. Super cute. Super cute. Now we cracked right into it. Today is one of those rare days where we didn't start with my flagrant self-promotion. We'll get to that probably next week. Here's a really beautiful one. So those of you who've watched some of my previous episodes of this show, the comXone, way back when it was branded a little bit differently, might remember the name Emma Guido. Emma Guido is an artist who did a really amazing piece called Underwater that was this really whimsical painted piece that actually adapted, I believe it was a piece of poetry. And it was one of my favorites from, I met Emma Guido for the first time, and probably I think it was the last time we were able to see each other was at one of these zine party events, but back in 2022, I think it might have been. I think it's actually been a year and a half since we've been able to be at a market at the same time. So I was really happy to be able to reconnect with Emma and let them know that their underwater piece was one of my favorites that I've ever shown on this program, and be able to pick up this piece here with this amazing bunny. This actually reminds me of the work that Cassie Hart does. That is often these really interesting bunny shapes. This is very evocative of the sorts of shapes and look that gets. But inside you get these really I love I love illustrations that to me feel like I'm looking at a macro photograph. You know, when we get these really cool detailed shots of bugs like this, or small creatures, or um, small detailed works, I'm always a big fan of that. And as usual, like we had with the undersea, I think it was called the underwater one, we get this really amazing painterly style that Emma does, and some really cool sort of abstract representation. Very cool, very gestural. Yeah, just a beautiful piece. That's a great one. Big fan of that. Okay, moving on. We're going to run through these fairly quickly today. And then we're going to see if we've got time for the Street Cats harm reduction ones, or we'll leave that to next week. But let's see how we do. Now I've got these were two folks that were tabled together. We're going to cover them at the same time. So we've got two folks. Let me grab their information for you. And as usual, look to this side over here. That's where I put the usually it's the Instagram handle for the people that I'm showing. If you like what these people are doing, you'd like to keep up with what they're doing or see more of it, please give them a follow. It's worth it. It's always worth it. Curate your feed with really nice artwork is always nice. Okay, so we've got two folks here. We got Sophie and we've got Johnny. I'm going to put their information up on the screen. So at Ghoulbat is Sophie. These ones here. And then we've also got Johnny, and I'll just grab his information and put it up on the screen. Johnny McSwinney is the right one for that. Perfect. Okay, let's cover Johnny's first. Really cool little, almost a little coloring book. Lean Gene Coloring Zine. Volume 1. I look forward to seeing future volumes of this. So there are these great, let's listen to CGSW, which is a really great radio station here in Calgary. Independent. The All You Can Eat Wednesday at the local ramen place. I assume they're at the nice central library here, or a bookstore. These are cute, super cute. Playing some Pokemans and out in space. It's nice. So check out, yeah, Johnny McSwinney. It's great. I like coloring ones. I don't usually color them, but I should start. I should probably start doing that. And Sophie's done these great ones. I have the first 2 volumes, I believe, of Trash Zine. I think I've shown on a previous one. So I was able to grab the 3rd volume of Trash Zine. What I like about this one, and when I showed it before, what I love about it is it's this collection of little artifacts, of little materials put together. We'll keep trying to get the camera to properly focus on that. So yeah, they just grab. So quite often what Sophie does here, is my understanding, is Sophie finds all of this stuff. So they'll find somebody's somebody's list that they've made, that they've dropped on the ground, or a ticket that they've dropped, something from the public library, and they'll place them together and collage them together in Trash Zine. Just amazing little pieces. And I love this because it's just, I like the idea. Look at that. The Simpsons choo choo choose you. I like the idea of upcycling what you're finding on the street into an artistic piece. Is super cool. It's smart, and it does some good, right? Because they're removing that stuff from where they find it and redoing it. So the other thing here, now this is a bit, I'll tell you, this is a bit beyond my age group. Tamagotchi. I was a bit I was kind of aged out before Tamagotchis got too big, but I was fascinating. I'm quite fascinated with this, and the artwork is done well. So all about the different Tamagotchis, and I don't know if these are new Tamagotchis that they've created that Sophie's made, or if these are existing ones from the actual little electronic devices. I have no idea. I don't have a touchstone for that in my nostalgia. So I have no idea. But they're cute as hell. It makes me think maybe I should try and find an old Tamagotchi and do something with it. I got 3 of these and they're super cool. So these are baby to teen. So they've done 3 different ones. This is baby to teen, and then there's 2 adult ones, odd and even. So we looked at the odd even first. Now let's open the adult odd and look at some of those. Yeah, it's cool looking at these. You see how similar they are to the early Pokemon as well. Like there's a bit of a through line that goes through there. I just like that it has all the, this Keiruchi looks like a frog, only accessed by debugging. Loves whitefish, hates popcorn. There you go. Whalechi resembles a whale. There you go. Super cute. I wish I had more of an understanding of Tamagotchi. And here's the young ones, the baby to teen. Pretty cute. The teen stage. So they even do their leveling up, their evolutions quite like a Pokemon does. I like this Onionchi. Known to be a bad singer. Crybaby type. Seems like a nice guy. Loves French fries, hates parfaits. I mean, I can relate. It's a nice work on those. I like it when even there's something I don't really have a cultural touchstone for, but can appreciate I can appreciate the artwork and the effort and the writing that goes into that so much that it doesn't matter if I really understand all of the nuances of it. And that's what makes those things strong. Ah, great. This is a good one here. This one, we need to talk about this one. This is a really cool piece called Escapism. You can follow the creator by going to @snaildy on the old Instagram. So this is a cool piece. I was talking to the creator about it, and Lindsay was telling me that because I was saying I was looking at the Instagram posts that Lindsay was creating around this and how much work went into this. And they're saying, yeah, I've created so much work for myself, but the payoff in this one is so good. So the way they had to create this, it's got cutouts on each page. So this is your sort of standard, as I talk about that sort of classic 8-page zine that's got the slit down it so that you can create it from a single piece of paper printed on one side. But then is given this beautiful artistry, number one, and then these custom cutouts. So for every one of these, they were scissors in hand working on this for escapism. And as they did it, they made it so it sort of basically perfectly pulls the one from behind it and creates this layered work, this sort of layered almost nebula. And it's beautiful. I love space stuff. I love this idea of floating in space towards this ever expanding nebula is pretty cool, and it's well done. It's so colorful and beautiful. I was super happy to get my hands on this for one of my little little black and white Ghost Town zines. Trade for this thing, and the amount of work that went into it. Holy cow! Holy cow! Good stuff. Really good stuff. This one's also very cool. The both the subject matter and the creation of it, as well as the execution on the printing and binding of this, is really something. This is by Amanda. Let's get their information up on screen here. So this one's really quite cool. So I need this, for me, is going to be one that I hope to kind of study a bit, because it's got a lot of pages, and they figured out a way to through their cutting. It's made from an actual 11 by 17 piece of paper. So this is amazing to me. This way that they the amount of the cutting and the sort of accordion folding that has to happen, and then a spot of glue on, it seems, on this one panel here to bring it all together. This is the masterclass kind of stuff. This is far beyond the little dinky stuff I do. This is a lot of thinking behind this. That's what I love about these things like Zine Party, is I get to meet a lot of people, and usually they're younger than I am, and to see the amount of thinking they're putting in these things and the amount of craft and attention to detail to execute something like this. And then there is, like, so as you pull this, it's a bit like, my Ghost Town zine is meant to open and keep revealing itself, and this is it taken to its most extreme, I find. So as you flip it, so it's meant to be flipped in every direction, which I love. I like that kind of thing. So you can flip it up, you get a table of contents, 24 pages in this one here. And this one's called No Job is a Good Job. And as you keep on flipping it, you discover more and more. And as it goes back and it opens again, they're numbered so that you can work off of the table of contents. You can always kind of flip to this and then flip it like a normal, like your sort of standard one. It's very smart, because you can always flip it back there and you're right back at that table of contents. It's pretty cool. And there's just so much thought behind this, so much talk about, there's a lot of thinking that when you can tell that Amanda really dissected the subject, talking about why our sort of standard thinking of a job in our society, what's wrong with that, with how that works, and how even things like volunteering and nonprofits are a way to make it so that a lot of people aren't paid in a sort of commensurate way for what the job that's being done. And just sort of, yeah, talking about this idea of anti-work. I think the last time I had is a few episodes ago, I had another zine that was talking about this idea of either slow jobs or no jobs being sort of a new way of thinking about these things. And once again, you get into, as you flip, as you go, you flip naturally, sort of the book style, and then it opens up, goes to the next one. So every time you get to the end of one of these, you're opening up. It's a really interesting way to do this. So as you flip and get to another, every time you kind of get to this where it wants to open up, you get to flip it up and continue. There's a lot here. Now, I haven't read through all of this yet, but there's just a ton of thought behind this. It's really well done. Pretty cool piece. Let's look at this. The aims of the zine. The zine is an introduction to a variety of ideas. Please research and look into the ideas that interest you. Hopefully you can learn something new, share the zine with others, discuss the contents of the zine, compare it with your current job, and start imagining a better future. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to really dissecting this. And the execution of it is really something. These are three really cool pieces by Sarah from a duo called So Gay, SEWGAY, So Gay. They create a lot of crafted, crocheted and sewed pieces and embroidery and things like that, and also things like zines, buttons, stickers, everything. They're pretty cool folks. I'm a big fan of theirs. And the two of them create some real great pieces. These ones are by Sarah from that duo. Let's grab their information here. So you can follow at sogay_. Now these two pieces here are actually meant to be companion pieces for music. So you're meant to listen to the music while you go through the zines themselves. So they on each one they put the sort of Spotify's version of a QR code. A song by Hey Nothing. Follow along from this section to this section of the song. Really cool idea. As you might know from some of my things I've been talking about, I am creating right now an album to be a companion piece to the next graphic novel that Gordon and I are working on for Genki Comics. So I love this idea of creating zines that are meant to be companion pieces to music. It's a great idea, and I think it works great. I haven't had a chance to listen to the music yet. I don't actually have Spotify, so I need to grab this stuff from look at this stuff on YouTube, I think. But yeah, these are meant to be companion pieces to these pieces of music. I would love to listen to those pieces of music and go through these live on stream, but as you know, I'd probably get in some trouble for that. So unfortunately, what I'm going to have to say is if you like this idea, check out, go to the Instagram I've got over there. Check this stuff out. Get a hold of these folks. Maybe you can get some of these sent out to you, and then listen to it for yourself and go through it. Here's a song by Maddie Sipes and the Painted Blue. What I think is also cool about this is Sarah has looked at the sort of limitations of the medium of zines and said, okay, I'm going to create a zine about one specific section of this song. So they tell you start at 20 seconds and go to a minute 12. And this is kind of set up to work with it while you're going through that section of the song and work in that way. And that's probably the smartest way to do it. These are great. Beautiful illustrations, beautiful color. The color that they place into this is really great. And we've got one for Whose You Are from Jake Minch. Closed your hands around the steering wheel, and I still believe that there's a place for us. And I tried to tell you this, but you don't know what it's like. I'll tell you when it's safe to come outside. Come outside. Yeah. So yeah, you can follow along with this, and actually it's almost like having your own little hand illustrated music video to go with that section of the song. Super cool. Super cool. So Sarah and Maddie, they work on some really cool stuff. So you should check them out. Go to sogay_ and check their stuff out. Really fun. A couple of my favorites. Nice people. Everyone's my favorite. That's the thing. I say that so often on this, like, oh yeah, these people, that's one of my favorites. Everybody in me, these are just so damn talented. We got two folks here. They were co-tabling. We're going to start with these great vintage buttons. These are super, super cool. Let's see. This first one. They are at Silver Oracle. They go by the Name Silver Oracle Crafts, or sorry, Silver Oracle Goods. You can also find them at Ectoplasm. Is the creator of these. So I traded for these really great. They had a set of, they had a whole bunch of these sort of vintage style buttons. So I got this one that's a souvenir of the circus. I thought that was quite, I like the old illustration that they did for this stuff. And I had to get myself an Ain't I Cute. It's just cool. So they have a lot of these vintage buttons all based around like old advertisements, um old protest stuff, old movies, just a huge amount of cool stuff. So yeah, I was pretty pumped to pick these up. I need to start putting them on various backpacks and things that I have. So that folks there, Silver Oracle Goods and Ectoplasm, the two ones you can follow there, they were tabling here with Volatile Sex Pill is the name of this set of zines. Really cool stuff. I'm going to put their information up on the screen here. I always make sure I pull it from Instagram to make sure I get it right. That's it takes me a little longer, but that's why I do it. So I've got a few different ones here. I've got volume 5, volume 3, volume 1, and volume 2. And they handed me this really cool sticker as well. A Very Strange Girl. So this is great because it's like, this really has that feeling to me that it's a great like punk style, like feels like that early raw feeling of zines, the sort of punk rock sensibilities that zines, which is always my favorite part of zines, is that feeling of that. It's not a cult, it's a sketchbook. I like this style. I wish I never feel like I can pull off this kind of zine where you've got like cool collage style along with illustrations, sometimes along with writing and along with found objects and everything else. It's a lot to pull together, and it really takes a really keen eye to do it. So it's amazing. Yeah, really cool piece. And we've got a bunch of them. Each one's kind of got its own feeling. Yeah, like here, for example, we have another little code for a Spotify song to kind of go along with this as a companion piece. Volatile Sex Pill, always watching, always got a witness. Yeah, look at that. Great pieces. They shot me full of ephedrine, it says. Society is cool and everyone is my friend. Yeah. This is volume 3. Yeah. Just cool. Really good style, really good sensibility. Throws my camera for a loop. It doesn't always want to focus on it, but it tries. Like what you see. I like that, once again, every single one of them has had, meant to have some companion piece with music. And I think for this style of zine, it works really well with it. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. Once again, it's nice to have that idea of a soundtrack while you're reading zines. Um, it works well to do that. So we're going to move on to our second stack of zines here. Like I said, this is all from Zine Party. It was just happening this last week. So here's a piece by Tia. Here's where you can find them. So this is cool because you can take this one sort of piecemeal, page to page. I wanted to make a zine, but all I can think about is how I can draw another panther. I hope people don't mind, because I drew this one in this zine. So the trick is, when you open it up, do I have it the right way? Sort of hidden in here. Do I have it the right way? Do I have the panther? It's almost like a magic eye for me. I have to almost cross my eyes to see it, but yeah, so hidden in here to hold it both ways. But yes, beautiful. Like I once again, when I talk about zines and how you can play with the how you can play with the format that you're working with, having it purposely be something that you're meant to open up and look at. I love that. Pretty cool. Let me quickly moderate this one message in here. The next one we're going to move to is by a creator named Crow. Oh, let's not get doubled audio. Almost got doubled audio there. Let me grab their information. Give me one moment here. Okay. So we're going to grab their information. This is at Crow Tattoo and that is Crow Tattoo with, I believe, a K. Yeah. So they had a set of zines that they're very like intensely personal, intensely intense. And so I asked Crow, if there's one for me to start with, which one would it be? And they suggested one other one, or Life's Desire. And I said, you know what? This Life's Desire really kind of like jumped out at me. So these are pretty, like I said, these are intensely personal, intensely raw. Lots of emotion in these. You know, dealing with the fact that, you know, somebody was diagnosed with cancer and it sent them into a bit of a what they describe as a spiral. Both the, you know, you get that, having the idea of our sort of self, you know, our almost feeling of like self-destruction when we see others who are suffering. And it's just very intense stuff, and really, really beautifully done. I have habituated, and yet still hovering under the blanket of positivity, Life's Desire of death. Yeah, so Crow's work was very, like I said, very intensely personal. And it takes, you know, it takes somebody with a lot of courage to let you in that deeply to their thoughts and feelings. So when you find a zine or a set of zines like this that Crow had, it's really, for lack of any better term, it's really a blessing to you. It's like it's a gift to be able to delve into somebody's thoughts like this. So it's something I don't take lightly. It's an amazing piece to be able to experience. Okay, next we're going to jump into this one here. It's by Katie Faulkner, who we've looked at we've looked at other pieces by them before. If you've been watching this little comic and zine show that I do, you may remember they had a piece called Estate Beasts, I believe it was called, that was all about the difficulty of being a renter, of trying to own property, own a home in this era, and that the idea of it becoming a beast. And it was a really amazing piece. And I know when I showed it, people really took to it. It was really quite powerful to people. And this is another, really great piece by Katie Faulkner. You can follow them at Cyto Stitch with 2 eyes. This is called I Love Fictional Men. Talking about these fictional characters that you find in movies, TV shows, animes, animated shows. Their best Disney girl. But in the end, you have these these funny tropes of these sad, fictitious men in your various Disney creations. And those, I love this page because it shows the Venn diagram of of miserable, magical, severely scarred, and tortured or experimented on male characters in various movies, and how the Venn diagram brings them all together. They say here, my partner pointed out it's a whole lot of white guys and old Rocket Raccoon here. So it's a fun piece. It's a very cool piece. I love fictional men. I like everything that KD does. Really cool stuff. Lots of, once again, lots of cool thought behind it, and letting you in to their ideas on things. So this is a great piece by Michaela Cacho. Now, Michaela is somebody that, once again, like I was talking about earlier with Emma Guido, I actually met them at the first ZINE Party event that I attended back in 2022, back in late in the year in 2022. People who saw that, a year and a half ago when I was showing that stuff on Streamlabs, it was one that had Michaela's poetry and writings, with this amazing translucent heart that was stitched into the book, and sort of hanging this heart, this tortured heart, suspended in the middle of the zine, with this crude, thick almost yarn holding it in place. Really amazing piece. This one here is a piece about the current Israeli Palestinian conflict that is happening, which I'm sure you're aware of, called Pigs Are Not Halal. In it is a really interesting piece of writing here. This is from their partner actually wrote this this letter to the president or provost of the university, asking them why they would take what was actually turned out to be a very harsh stance on protesters on university grounds. It was kind of, if you ask me, it's a bit of an embarrassing situation for the city to see protesters crack down on so severely as they were at the University of Calgary. And yeah, so we've got this. It's a good piece. Very strong emotions around it because it's It's so current. It's such a current struggle that's happening. Our next piece here is from another person that we've had on here quite often. I'm always worried that I say their name wrong, and I always forget to ask them if it's Miyake or something different. I always say Miyake, but I may have that wrong. I've shown pieces from them at least once before, if not twice before. And this was a brand new piece from them called Dream Number 2. Let's actually take a look right through this one. We found you. Try all you want. You're never going to get one over on us. We are always one step ahead of you. Oh, really? How? You both just got here. Don't be so sure. Look at that outlet over there, for instance. This is an adaptation of a dream that they had. That pulls them. Whoa, where did those two weirdos go? And what did they mean about the outlet? Guess I was dreaming? Are they waiting somewhere for me to fall asleep so they can... No, it's crazy. It was just a nightmare. And then staying up all night because you don't know what's real. I think a lot of us can relate. We warned you. We were always one step ahead of you. It's a cool piece. I like that one a lot. We've got about 4 more people before we're done here. And I think what we're going to actually do is we'll also talk about street cats, but I think I'm going to leave theirs to deep dive on its own episode because they're harm reduction ones that I want to really, really delve into. We'll make the decision by the time we get to the end here. We'll look at the timing of things. We're actually doing really good on time, so we might be all right. So this was very exciting to meet a newcomer to Calgary. Liam goes by Le Petit Puzzle. Originally from Quebec, and now here in Calgary. Let's see if I can. This one I have to get it to focus on because it got to do it justice. They have these really beautiful art cards, and this is the one I chose, and I really love this one. Just really well done. I was so happy to meet somebody. It's always interesting here in Alberta when I meet somebody who's moved here, especially when they're coming from the east of Canada, because it is, I don't know. I think it's my inferiority complex as a Western Canadian. I always think if you're doing well in the east, you kind of made it. You don't need to come out west. But as they always say in the terrible ads that we run across Canada, Alberta is calling. So people do they do come out to Alberta, and so I'm always super happy when I see somebody who's doing something of this caliber, who decide to come out and make Calgary their home, make Alberta their home. I can't remember if they were in Calgary, if they were elsewhere in Alberta, but for them to come out, make Alberta their home, and be allowing us to be on the journey that they're taking with their artwork is, once again, like I was saying earlier, it's a gift. It's a gift to all of us here in Alberta to be able to see that work. So, give them that follow. Really nice stuff they were doing. And I like that their stuff took a lot of different forms and how its style and what it seemed like its inspirations and aspirations were. So it was fun to see. Here's a piece from my friend Hollis. I've shown some stuff from them before. if you don't recognize this style and you've been watching this for a while, you go back and watch. Hollis does some really amazing stuff. You can follow them at Hawksley with 2 L's. Let's put that in the old creator box here. So follow their stuff. Hollis is I was talking to Hollis about why I like showing their stuff so much on these streams. And what I was saying was when I do my own art streams on here, when I'm doing my own zines, here's the flagrant self-promotion, I guess. When I'm doing it, I talk so often about the idea of positive versus negative space, and the idea of also using contrast, high contrast, to really create artwork that make people sit up and notice. And Hollis nails it every time. Every time. I've shown drawings from them, buttons and pins that I've done that were their artwork, and the idea of the positive, so the dark space, and the negative space, the blank space left around it, and the interplay between them, they nail it. They nail that. Even when I was teaching college courses, I talked so much to my students about that as well. Using positive and negative space in a way that, in of itself, look at how this arm is sort of reverse silhouetted over the body, using it as a compositional tool. It's just so good. And so Hollis always makes me smile when I see their artwork because they nail that so hard. So this was Hollis finally catching up on some prompts for, I believe, for the Inktober. But something that's cool that they do is in Inktober, what they do is Hollis takes the official prompt list and they do something that I tried to do in the first time I did Inktober, but they actually carry through with it and do it well, where I kind of faltered and failed, is they create an ongoing narrative from the prompts for Inktober. And so you actually, in the end, get a linear progressing panel style comic out of it that often has this interplay between these two characters who sort of are almost like the inverse of each other, and the interplay that they have and introducing other characters. And it's just always so well done. So as you follow through this, you get a progressing storyline that has that pacing that you want to see. So you see struggle, you see action, you see quieter moments and pathos and conflict, and you can follow it to its conclusion. It's really cool, beautifully done. So as you see here, you can also go to Hollis's website to find even more. Yeah, so they called this one Here Nor There. Really great piece. Like I said, I tried to do something similar in my first Inktober, and I got about 2/3 through the month or so, but I was not doing it in the kind of masterful way that Hollis was. Okay, 2 more. Oh, 3 more actually. We've got a twofer here. So these were, again, 2 people who were co-tabling. Let's grab their information here. So we've got 2 pieces. We've got the Uncle Girl zine and also artwork by Ari. So Uncle Girl is where you'll follow for that. And the other one is at, I remember this one, that's Soleil.Ari. Soliari, which I think is a nice little play on words, if you are aware of who Soliari is. So the Uncle Girl, we've got issues 2 and 4. We cherry picked a couple of them out of there because they had some really beautiful color pieces. And I wanted to make sure I didn't I didn't take these really, um, much more, flashy color pieces when I was trading my zines with them. We went for these ones in particular, and they're great. Once again, that great sort of punk rock sensibility of like the meat and potatoes of what you think of as a zine. You've got writing, you've got artwork, seeing a mix of styles, photographic. I love this one. They're really good. Taking volume. There's a piece that Gord did that was in our first mini issue of Genki that this reminds me of. This reminds me of some of my Ghost Town zines. You know that this is a cool style. I need to do something like this in one of my Ghost Town zines. Is more this style. Would be a really fun way to do it. Really cool. Because I've been trying to do a mix of styles, but I haven't done anything where it's quite got this like doodled in the back of your um physics notebook kind of like idea, like this kind of like really cool. I don't know. For me, this is all like this speaks to me as like that. Uh, yeah, like drawing in your school book kind of thing. Something I'd like to jump into. Yeah, just this mix. I love that this has that mix of styles. They're cool pieces. Here's Uncle Girl number 4. Yeah, bummer. It's not against TOS. That's a normal one. Whoop. Might not be able to show that. I might not be able to show all of this. I'm trying. There we go. The bunny rabbit and the mushrooms. Yeah. I love it when there's like cool photography in there as well. Very cool. Very, very cool. It's a good piece. And I was able to trade also for a couple of pieces of artwork. So Ari was creating a lot of this stuff on the day, just drawing that stuff. I think he had some that he brought in and some that he was doing on the day. So I get to choose the ones that I got to take. So it was cool because I got to hand pick the ones that really spoke to me. And I love the mix between the more almost fragility of this stuff and then the strength, the boldness of that. And then this one here, the colors as well as the gestural quality, almost like blind contour style of the drawing of the figures. Let's see if I can get this. I gotta get this to focus. It deserves it. Come on, camera, be nice to me. Be nice to me, camera. You never know with this thing. There we go. So if you're aware of the German artist Egon Schiele, this very much reminded me of that. And as soon as I mentioned it to Ari, he was like, "You got it. I got some. There's a bit of that influence there." So, I'm a big fan of Egon Schiele. Was I think early 1900s. I think is when he was most prevalent. I could be wrong on the timing. It's been a long time since I did art history. I'll tell you that. But this spoke to me of that, and it's great. I love there's like there's almost like an aggression in the feeling of them, but also this fragility, this vulnerability that happens, and that's a hard thing to it's a hard thing to capture and to grasp. And it just shows me how good Ari is as an artist to be able to do that. Okay, I managed to pick up the second issue of One Dyke to Another. I've shown issue 1 in a previous one, a previous edition of this program. Let me put there. Very simple. You can follow at One Dyke to Another. They have a third issue out now, but this was the last of the ones that they had of issue 2, and it will not be printed again. So I was very, very happy to be able to sit down with them and reconnect, get the second issue, and I will be sure to get the third issue the next time I see them and I have some more stuff to trade with them. So, I mean, if you're interested in the cool thing about this is if you're interested in having a piece, you've got some writing, you've got the it's all about celebrating, as they say here. It's a zine based here in Mokinsis or Calgary. Mokinsis means the meeting place, the confluence, that strives to celebrate lesbian life and culture. And like I said, the last time I showed this stuff is I like seeing things that are from other people's perspectives that I don't normally get exposed to. So this is a great zine to me. It's really well done. They're very passionate about it, and it shows. It comes through. So if you have something that you'd like to share that's in that vein, you can submit if you go to their scan bio. Now, I don't know if they're looking strictly for Canadian creators, so just be aware of that. But yeah, as you see here, they've done a review of a graphic novel, as well as they have writing and artwork, portraits of the past, so important figures. They talk about Stonewall here, which is pretty cool. Very important. Here they've got their own Dear Abby, Queer Abby. Is it normal to struggle with not feeling queer enough because you don't feel the need to come out to family? And then they give their feelings on it. Yeah, it's cool. I like to see this outlet and exploration of that community. It's important. You see, we've got some pieces here from some names we'll recognize even from this episode, like Michaela did a nice poem for this one called Orange. Yeah, great pieces. Oh yeah, look at those. Very cool. So someone sent in some of their shots of their artwork to be included, and that's excellent. And then they've got a little comic in the back. So what is a personal? A personal is a section of a published work where people can place personal messages. Think analog Twitter. Was anyone else stuck in traffic on 8th Avenue over an hour on Monday? It was ridiculous. I met the most beautiful person in the bathroom at Twisted, drawing a vulva on the stall door, and I think I'm in love. I wish I knew more lesbians in Calgary. Cool. At the end of the street sits a curved house with close cropped lawns and discreet flower gardens. I love this. I think this is a really good zine, and they're doing great work with it. Let's see. I think we actually have time to deep dive through the. We're going to do a bit of a deep dive on this one. This is work from Street Cats YYC. Make sure I get there are some periods in the name of this one. I want to make sure I get it exactly right. Street.cats.yyc. This is a collective of people who focus on harm reduction here in Calgary. So what does that mean? That means that they are doing quite a few of the things that are on here. Look at that. Can I get it to focus? I can. Night outreach, encampment support, community engagement and event support, harm reduction, distribution, and education. So that's things like safe supply and safe consumption of drugs. Naloxone distribution and training so that you can potentially save a life in the case of things like an overdose or toxic drugs. Drug poisoning response and peer spotting, mental health supports, de-escalation and interventions, community resource support and info, and radical drug user liberation and advocacy. So they are all about harm reduction. When I was talking to them about it, uh, and asking about where, what they focus on, that they, they lay it right out there. They say, hey, people use drugs, and people find themselves in situations either out of survival or out of, it's just the way life works, that they find themselves in things like drug use or sex work or other things that some people in our society would deem as, bad behavior or risky behavior, or inherently, a lot of people in our society view that sort of behavior as something where if something bad happens to them, it's just the way it works. And it's why these people are so important, because they say, no, everyone has the right to some sort of stability and measures of safety and having somebody to have your back. So they try to break the stigmas of things like drug use or sex work, or um, protecting yourself in a homeless sort of situation, because it doesn't matter whether you are housed or unhoused, or if you use drugs, or if um, your career is one that people don't recognize as one that should have safety. You should have safety. So I kind of asked them, can I take a sampling? They must have had, I would say they had 40, at least 40 different zines, if not more, maybe 60 zines, maybe 100 zines that all talk about harm reduction. So I asked them, like, can I get sort of a sample pack to kind of start with? I had a few that I kind of picked out of, these are ones I'd like to talk about, and which ones do you think I should talk about? And they handed me some really good ones, like this one here about the need for supervised consumption sites. Here in Alberta, consumption sites are integral to the, oh, they talk about it right here. They can talk about this better than I can. So supervised consumption sites are an integral aspect of harm reduction and maintain community safety. The other thing that's happening is they are under threat. Not just here in Alberta, but all around the world. They supervised consumption sites are necessary, yet they are under threat of being taken and shut down and removed from use. For the excuse purely of public safety, when the safety of the users becomes secondary to everything else. So it's been shown that supervised consumption sites save lives. So they've got great, they really deep dive into this stuff, the benefits of them. Here we go. Once again, like I said, as soon as I start talking about it, they say it better than I ever can. Evidence shows clearly that supervised consumption sites and services help to save lives, connect people to social services and pathways to achieving individuals' unique goals around their substance use. Because they reduce the risk of accidental overdose, as people are not rushing or using alone. That's a huge thing that they talk about, is when someone is using, they should always have someone there with them. Especially in this time when we're seeing record deaths due to toxic drugs. Not being alone when you're using is huge. They can connect people to social services like housing, employment assistance, and food banks. They provide or connect people to healthcare, and they reduce the public drug use and discarded drug equipment. So some of the things that, like I said, when these supervised consumption sites get shut down, it's in the guise of public safety. Whereas, the argument can be made, and I think successfully, that having people in a controlled environment where they can be safe, the they can have less chance of bad outcomes, can be connected to services, and that drug paraphernalia, especially things like sharps, needles and such, or pipes, are not ending up discarded on our streets, does us all a lot of good. So we may not delve through every single page of these, but I do want to take a look at a few of them. So they can reduce the spread of diseases, reduce the strain on our medical systems, and provide that safe space. It's so I I always hope that if people see things like this and become aware of what supervised consumption sites can do, there's a balance that needs to be struck, of course, of where they're located, how they're run, the services, what's happening with people once they use our, what is the process of that. But we can't have them all shut down. It just leads to more chaos, more death. And we're coming off of 2023 was once again a terrible record was broken. We're getting to the point now where in some of our western cities we're seeing as many as 5 or 6 people die, statistically speaking, 5 to 6 people per day being lost. And supervised consumption can help reduce that. This is a cool one I really wanted to check out as well. They handed me this one. They said, you got to take this one. It talks about how this talks about the sort of the path, drugs come from a dealer. That's how that works. So this talks about that actual movement to create that safer understanding of how that works. So what do they mean by radicalizing your dealer? Prohibition has failed to eradicate illicit substance abuse in our society. As a consequence of continuing with this culture, substance use and the sale of substances will continue due to criminalization of substances. I'm reading this. I'm inferring what all this is. I'm getting it just about all right, but not totally, but close. Substances are unregulated and have become increasingly contaminated. That's a big thing that's happening, is this toxic drug supply. So until we have a safe supply, that removes the need for an unregulated drug supply. We need to do better and be better. Education is key in engaging the narrative and perspective. So there's this misconception, it says here, that people who sell drugs are inherently bad people or have ill intentions for their customers. No one wants their customers or friends to die. The reality is that your local drug dealer has probably been exposed to the failings of system services and or the intergenerational poverty. They are just trying to survive capitalism like everyone else. It talks about criminalization. If I can get this to... Can you see it? Can you see it? This camera. I'll tell you, this camera. Talk about criminalization and harm reduction. Talk to your local dealer about harm reduction, such as using test strips to test for fentanyl, providing Narcan kits in case of opioid overdose. Make them aware that there are syringe exchanges in your area. Encourage engagement in community care. And this radicalization is not radical. This is not a radical ideology. This is basic knowledge sharing and community care from a public health lens. Enable people to make informed decisions. People are receptive to education and safety when we all provide respectful and informative communication. Harm reduction belongs to drug users. Yeah. These are really important pieces. I wanted to grab this one that's about cans and bottles that kind of talks about that. There's an economy that's almost a hidden economy. That's all based around the recycling of cans and bottles for their income. Everyone's seen it. Everyone knows what that means. Everyone's seen those who collect cans and bottles and sometimes have to go about sort of dangerous, like personally dangerous methods to do so, like dumpster diving, which can be very dangerous to people. So making it easy for people to do that, if you're in a position to do so, is is really important. Did you know folks that collect recyclable bottles and cans must claim their income and pay taxes? A study in the USA found that crime rates dropped in states with container deposit laws. People collecting recyclables are doing the community a favor and keeping them out of the landfill, since most are found mixed with other garbage. That's why there's a way to make it safer for them. Yeah, these are cool. This was one they asked me to take and talk about. I had never heard of a buddy burner before. A thing that we find, especially here in the north in Canada, is we've seen an increase in really terrible situations where, especially the unhoused, may end up going into an abandoned property or other building or dwelling, starting a fire to try and keep warm, and that fire gets out of control, and they succumb to it. We've seen that even in this winter, I believe it happened. There were some cases of that. So having a buddy burner is a thing that people can build and can keep people safe. So by building a small burner out of a small, say, tuna can save people's lives. So you're basically creating almost like a burner you would find for, in the same sort of size and scope as you'd find for something like a fondue set. But this is a homemade thing where it kind of the cardboard works basically as like a wick, and then you have an accelerant in there that won't get out of control because you're using stuff like wax or hand sanitizer as your fuel, something that won't get out of control, like using like a propellant. And then this burner can keep people warm in a small space, or and not have something get out of control. They're pretty cool. And so this is kind of made as the thing I love about the zine way that this goes is this is the sort of thing where if you are an unhoused person on the street, you can have one of these, you can have this stuff tucked into your, you could have some of these things tucked into your pants pocket, but this is meant, this one is in particular and is really meant, a lot of these are meant to get the word out to those not in that situation. And this is such a powerful, when Gordon and I talk about why we think things like graphic novels and zines and comics are a powerful medium, is we always say it's a digestible way and like a lo-fi way to get to spread ideas, and this encompasses that. Here we have the one that I chose about sex work. The main thing is to recognize that sex work is real work and therefore requires decriminalization, safety, and care. Everyone, like I was saying earlier, everyone should be able to expect safety, whether their work is something that is traditionally sort of accepted in our communities or not. Yeah. Here we talk about hard versus soft drugs and how that dichotomy is harmful. You look at how the stigma around drugs, especially when people talk about that sort of boogeyman of hard drugs. Can I get this to? Can I get it to focus? Maybe not. Keep trying. So the idea that hard drugs becomes this immediately stigmatized thing as soon as it's mentioned, to where it's as if people with so-called hard drugs don't deserve don't deserve any leeway, don't deserve any respect or safety, and how there should be prohibition on that is incredibly harmful to um, to people's safety and well-being, and it creates this good versus bad and right versus wrong. Whereas, you look at the most widely used drug in the world, alcohol, is has a safe, inherently safe supply because it is decriminalized in almost all cases. There's very there's very few ways you can get into trouble while uh, handling alcohol versus what a hard drug, where there's um, an absolute prohibition mindset. And I hope I'm not speaking out of turn when I'm kind of talking from myself on some of this. So I hope I'm not speaking out of turn on that. But um, the idea of this hard versus soft drugs and the harm that it does is it's pretty big. And once you recognize it and see the difference there, it really gets your mind reeling. Here's an idea about carrying Narcan, the nasal spray that will save someone from a potentially fatal overdose. How to do it. So basically, just gives people a way to easily understand and digest. In a pinch, you can refer to this very quickly if you need to spring to action. But otherwise, you're meant to study this. And I love the way that they've done it in the same way that you'd find something like a CPR course giving this information. And you can save someone's life with that. Seen that happen. So I'm gonna do this one last. I want to talk about this one last. Oh boy, I forgot I've got one more somebody else's zines too. We'll get to that very last. Last but not least, we will get to them. I had it into this one. They talked about, so a large thing that happens in some of these communities is bear spray used as either an aggressive weapon or a defensive weapon. So talking about how to handle exposure to bear spray is pretty important. Flushing your eyes, watching out for your inhalation, and how to get your breathing back on track. The exposure to your skin and your clothing, and watching for harmful symptoms afterwards that could be a sign of trouble coming. Pretty amazing. That's something that happens here in Calgary. Once in a while we do hear about bear spray attacks or someone using bear spray in a defensive way. Yeah. This one, whoops, I've got it folded. Got folded the wrong way. There we go. This one's about adapting to drug users' needs. Because there has to be some sort of meeting people. You gotta meet people where they live, kind of thing, right? So here we talk about alcohol is much cheaper at the liquor store, but people still go to bars and pubs to meet the social entertainment aspect of consumption. Create desirable consumption spaces that can medically respond and encourage people to use in sight so you can keep them safe. Maintaining strict clinical use sites keeps people at home or in the alley. Maintaining stigma and punitive responses keeps people alone in the dark. If we don't adapt to drug users' needs, drug users will continue to die. And we've seen that, especially in the last 3-4 years with the toxic drug supply. Yeah, so everything that Street Cats is doing is incredibly honorable. Harm reduction is extremely important. So you can find out more from them. And if you do not have a strong harm reduction team in your city, I would say these folks are over there. These folks would be good folks to talk to about what they're doing. Because the way they're putting this out, like I said, this is just a small selection of the pieces they had about how to keep people safe and do harm reduction in a. It doesn't matter if it's urban or rural or what. There is a huge amount of knowledge here. Okay, last but not least, I accidentally had this in the stack of those ones. I meant to talk about this one. This was just about first, and I accidentally got shuffled to the back of the pack. My mistake, but that's okay. It's great to end on a really cool piece like this. As soon as I saw this one, I knew I had to have it. My brain is like an old computer, older than me. I had to have it. I had to have this one. And you can follow the creator. Handmade in Calgary, Alberta, it says, by Eddie, they, he. Queer owned, the best place to get a pride beanie. It's called Some Pretty Gay Crafts. Great stuff. They do lots of stuff. They do hand crocheted, hand created things. What else do they have? They've got postcards. They've got stickers. They've got the aforementioned pride beanies. Lots of cool stuff. They're really, really cool. And this piece is just so cool. We're going to read right through this one because I love it. I love it that much. My brain is like an old computer, older than me. And all of the wires that connect my senses and my perception and my thinking are just a little loose. They don't quite run the way they're supposed to. Sometimes they're slow, sometimes they're crossed, sometimes the connection fails. But there's still some good memories in there, and I can still use it. I just have to be patient. It's awesome. I love that piece. It's great. That's the first one I traded for when I was at the show yesterday, or this past weekend, pardon me. Yeah, so please, anybody that you like on this, please show them some love. Follow them. Let them know you've seen their stuff and let them know what you liked about it. It's, I'll tell you, as a creator myself, when someone's reached out to me on Instagram and just a quick message of saying, hey, I sat down with that zine last night and I enjoyed it, that makes your whole day feel good. So I encourage you to do that. This will be up on YouTube, and we'll be back. I'm doing sort of, I believe, a maybe week on, week off of this. It's gonna be pretty sporadic because it depends on when I'm doing shows. The next show that I am at, here's some flagrant self-promotion, I suppose. Panel 1 is taking place June 1st, 2024 here in Calgary. I'll be seeing a lot of people I haven't seen in about a year, and also some folks that I haven't seen in maybe even longer or maybe a little shorter. So I'll have another stack of things to show after that one. I've got some very exciting stuff coming from the spring can zine that I was a part of. It was an online zine market. We're also at that point going to be going through a piece from a fellow shortlisted person in the Broken Pencil Zine Awards is John Claytor. I've just got this piece from them and I sent them back some of my zines in response. This is a teaser for their upcoming graphic novel. We'll be touching on this at the same time that we do can zine. As soon as I get my can zine pieces in the mail, we're going to be going through this at that same time because I felt it's very apropos because of the Broken Pencil connection that we have, and they're the folks who put that on. So stay put for this. John Claytor, if you want to find them, just search John Claytor. Cool stuff, but we'll really jump through this that next time. So all the best to everyone. Thank you for watching. If you like any of this stuff, I do this show on Twitch, goes up on YouTube. Show your love to the creators that I place over here because it's extremely humbling to get to know them. I was very happy to walk into that room at ZINE Party, even though I wasn't showing at this one. And I knew about 80% of the people in the room, and I got to reconnect with people I already feel like are almost old friends. So show them some love. Thanks again.